Hello everyone and welcome to my little Lego corner, where this week went into my little Lego thinking corner to think of a good video idea for you guys. I did remember I already have a great idea for a video. About a year ago I made Lego versions of my favorite albums and come to think about it, this was actually my worst received video ever. I mean, nobody and their cousin wanted to watch this. So I had to crawl back into my little Lego corner and thought to myself,
am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
So I'm just gonna go and plow ahead with something nobody and their second cousin wanted to watch. And I'm gonna do this for two reasons. One, I just really want to turn you on to some really amazing music. Second reason is, in my previous video I begin by saying, welcome to a very special video where we'll be going through my inspiration and influences. Which the video then turns out not to be about. What the video is really about is an exploration or an evolution of my music taste. Basically how I went from the Spice Girls to Tom Waits. And also the title Top 10. It's not a top 10 video. Maybe one of these will make my top 10. I actually really do put a lot of effort into these. I don't know what happens. I guess it's just a case of no amount of effort can ever beat stupidity. So to remedy my flop up in the previous video, I'm gonna actually do in this video what I promised in the previous video. But to talk about my influences and inspirations, we need to go back. Well, okay, maybe not that far back. For that, we need to go back when I was still sucking on my mom's Swedish tits. Which is not important, but it is relevant for you to be able to take a chance on guessing what this album cover could be. Now, I'm not saying it's illegal to not own an ABBA album in Sweden, but it is definitely frowned upon. And I really butchered this one. In my defense, it is really difficult to make round faces in Lego, it's especially in this size. Still, it doesn't excuse to just slap some googly eyes on there. My bad. Moving on to Papa Hopo, who was a Rolling Stone or a rock and roller if you will, and I've already mentioned some of the albums I've taken from him, and there was a lot. But I just really want to highlight this one, as this is one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. And I know they're mostly known for the soundtrack to the Vietnam War, but you don't have to hate Charlie to like this. Lego wise, I try to use a dot technique to get this train home, but it is real difficult to paint with Lego compared to building with Lego. Moving right along to the other people who were hanging around me when I was still sucking on my thumb, I also have a 7-year older brother who introduced me to music I was way too young for. Starting with this Eazy-E album, which was actually a tape. But I remember singing along to this, even though I didn't know what the words meant. My parents knew what the words meant, and their friends knew, and my kindergarten teacher knew. Come to think about it, I might have been the reason my brother got sent to boarding school. My Lego album was impossible. I mean, how are you gonna make this? They're all standing in a dark room with dark clothes on. Speaking of dark, humor that is, this album I still love to this day, and it still holds up. The level of jokes and rhymes on this record is on par with even the best lyricists out there. Lego wise, I nailed it. It's just spot on, I think. And I also think you can begin to see a pattern here. See, the more I still love the album, the more I do out of it. It must be subconscious. This Velvet Underground album is the first music I remember listening to that gave me feelings more than just joy and anger. This album showed me how music can build a whole nother world and take you there. Lego wise, the album was quite easy to make, so I'm not quite sure how to judge this, but it's definitely an interesting practice to paint with Lego instead of building. Finally, in my tale of music influence comes to my first CD. I know I told you the Spice Girls was my first, and I don't really know if that's true. I don't actually remember my first album, but the first album I remember having and listening to every single day and knowing every word from top to bottom was this one. It's a Danish rap trio who, like Eazy-E, was singing about what's happening in the streets, but what was happening in the streets of Copenhagen was very different than what's happening in the streets of Compton. I mean, these guys were rapping about missing the bus, being late for work, and how there's nothing on TV. But I can't leave you only knowing that about Danish hip-hop. You gotta listen to these guys as well. It's a shame if you don't understand what they're saying, but it is hilarious. Most of the album is about how they want to kill the Smurfs. But, man, I still have so much music I want to share with you. I just love music. So what? I got 2 interests. Get over it. It's just, when you listen to music, you know, it'll never give you up, never gonna let you down, and desert you.